IndyCars have made a total of 7 visits here. This will be the 8th, the first time in 13 years, Jake Query, that we've run at the Magic Mile.
And it is good to be here, and in doing so, it's not strange I shouldn't say, but we forget that it's been, of course, a few races since we've been on the oval, so as a result, the configuration of pit road and the pit stall order, of course, it goes off of the qualifying order for the last race when we were on an oval. That means that the number 1 stall, if you will, the most desired at pit out will be that of Takuma Sato. Behind him will be Danica Patrick. Then the 3rd pit stall is Tony Kanaan. The conditions today, absolutely perfect right now. 67 degrees is the ambient temperature under a sun-filled sky here in New Hampshire. We are some 80 miles north of Boston. The track temperature, 84 degrees. And interesting, when we came in, Mike, you made note of the fact it was like being in the Bay Area in California. A lot of fog here in New Hampshire this morning, but that has burnt off. There is expected to be some precipitation tomorrow, but not the case today. Absolutely perfect conditions right now here in Loudon, New Hampshire.
Once again on Thursday afternoon, a 5.5-hour 2-session test for the IZOD IndyCar Series, led by Dario Franchitti, Marco Andretti, Davey, who of course won at a short oval a couple of months ago when we were at Iowa. Marco wound up P2. Tony Kanaan, Takuma Sato wound up P3, P4. Then Scott Dixon, Graham Rahal, Ryan Briscoe, Oriol Servia. So, by and large, though the driver they're all chasing is Dario Franchitti, who posted that quick lap at 21.7. As we dial in for this practice session, then the later practice session this afternoon before qualifying, Davey, everyone is trying to chase points leader Dario Franchitti.
Yeah, they sure are. I mean, he's the one that's on top right now. Actually, it's Hinchcliffe on top with Sato and Danica in third place. But how about in 4th right now? James Jakes. You know, he has been struggling on the ovals a bit this year, but right now, I mean, he's up on the board ahead of Castro Neves, Briscoe, Power. So he's got a good run going right now.
Yeah, and by the way, those numbers we were just talking about, that was practice session number 1 on Thursday afternoon. Actually, the combined session, Davey, the overall speed, had Dario quickest at 21.5665, and as you were talking about, there were a lot of drivers thinking, he's flat all the way around here,
yeah.
And that's what they're trying to accomplish, but they think Dario right now might be the only driver there. Scott Dixon, his teammate, wound up P2 overall in the combined practice sessions. Then Graham Rahal. Then you got the KV cars you were talking about earlier, Kanaan, Sato, and Vizo. James Hinchcliffe wound up 7th quick in the combined sessions on Thursday. Then Oriol Servia, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and rookie Charlie Kimball. So, Davey, pretty impressive that the same 2 rookies that were really doing a good job at Mid-Ohio, also doing a good job here during the combined sessions on Thursday afternoon.
They are. Hinch and Hildebrand are both doing great jobs. And then Kimball, he's the one that here as of lately it's been really shining, really has learned a lot since Edmonton. And
well, he's currently P1, Davey. He has gone to the top of the chart as Hinch has a quick lap at 22.02 seconds. That's a speed of 167.52 miles an hour. Takuma Sato is next at 22.09, 166.97. Then Briscoe, Danica Patrick, and rookie James Jakes, Davey, who had a pretty good weekend at Mid-Ohio a couple of weeks ago. This guy seems to be taking it slow and steady, but, Jakes he's definitely moving forward, not backwards, in terms of his progression here.
He just shows up to the States, gets in the IndyCar for his first time, sees these tracks for the first time, been to the team for the first time, and he has just taken it nice and steady, and he's catching on and learning. I think he has a lot of talent, and he's been doing it with different teammates. He's the only full-time guy with the team that he's with Dale Coyne, and then he's got Sebastian Bourdais and Alex Lloyd driving the other car back and forth. So I think he's doing a good job learning from 2 great veterans, one great road racer, one great oval racer, and he's doing a good job.
Now, Davey, the next practice session comes up at noon, but it's a split session. It's going to be half and half. So I'm guessing what the thought process there is, you have that 30 minutes. It's a 1-hour practice split in half. The 2 groups will be out just to make sure that what teams have enough empty track, if you will, to get in qualifying runs, at least qualifying sims, and see how that car is feeling when it's trimmed out?
Exactly. There's a definite difference between race sim and qualifying sim at a track like this, for sure, Mike. The car is drastically different. I mean, you need to trim it out and hang on for the few qualifying laps that you have to run, but then race sims come, man, it's going to be a lot of downforce, making sure, heavy loads of fuel, make sure you can make the run. Now, one thing interesting. Now, and I heard Jake talk about earlier is pit lane. Usually they do pit lane off qualifying for the previous race. Is that correct?
Well, for the previous oval race.
Oh, previous oval race.
Yeah, remember we go ovals to ovals.
Okay.
Yeah, and remember Takuma Sato was on pole at Iowa.
Yeah. Okay. Because I thought it was from the previous race, not realize it was over. Because I see Scott Dixon in the very last pit. But remember how he got loose qualifying in Iowa.
That's right.
And was about probably the slowest he's ever qualified in the IndyCar series. And so, I was wondering how that all shook
in fact,
out.
Dixon had his worst start at Iowa he had in 5 years, I believe it was. We'll check those numbers. But most cars right now on pit lane, 7, maybe 8 cars out on track. James Hinchcliffe, the rookie, as right now these cars working pretty much in race trim. We're back to pit lane, Jake Query.
I was just getting ready to say, guys, we talk an awful lot about how sometimes the discipline of a driver in getting into the groove of going on a road and street course, then coming back to the oval. Just as I was thinking that, I was getting ready to report in that Dario Franchitti is now in his car. He's getting ready to go out. I was going to make note of the fact he was going out on sticker black tires. Wait a minute, we're on an oval. It doesn't matter. Everybody's on black tires. But Dario Franchitti, who, as we've just talked about, has the fastest lap of the weekend here at New Hampshire, he is finally getting ready to go out about midway through this practice session.
Yeah, Jake, you can look long and hard. You're not going to find any alternate reds down there this weekend, are you?
No, I don't think so. And again, it takes a minute, Mike. It takes a second to get into the flow of things once you get back onto the ovals. But I guess it's not just a discipline for the drivers. Us media guys also have to kind of keep on our toes with things.
Watching J.R. Hildebrand, looks like he's trying to step up the speed a little bit in the National Guard Panther Racing Machine as he got past Vitor Mira here on the front straight. And, Davey, we watched Mira as he runs just in front of Takuma Sato heading into turn number 1. I got to admit, it's nice to be able to see the entire racetrack.
Yeah, again. It is cool, and then to be able to see the entire racetrack. As we said, it's back to the ovals. Now, it's a short, brief oval because we head right to Sonoma and then to Baltimore.
Then to Baltimore, yeah.
But there's 2 cars, Mike, that still aren't on track, and that's both the guys that were P1 and 2 in the practice on Thursday of Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon. So they're just waiting. We have a tire allotment this weekend, and so they're probably just waiting to make sure they have plenty of tires throughout the run, letting the Firestone rubber kind of take the Hoosier rubber off from the modifies that were out there. So they're just kind of hanging out.
Dario Franchitti did 118 laps on Thursday during that 5.5-hour test session. Scott Dixon did 137 laps, and as we mentioned, they were 1-2. Quickest lap of the session belonged to Dario at 21.5665. That is a tenth of a second off of the record lap set here during qualifying for IndyCars by Andre Ribeiro back in 1995 at 21.466. Once again, that's a speed of 177.436 miles an hour. Graham Rahal remains at P1. Let's keep in mind that Graham has just completed his 50th lap of this practice session, and Graham Davey did that quick lap on lap number 9. It kind of looks like Graham's out there doing a full stint. What do you think? We're probably looking at 74, maybe 75 laps?
Laps, exactly.
On
a stint here, right? 225 lap race, Mike. So we're looking in that area for fuel stops. But Graham's been in and out several times, so he's definitely still doing adjustments. Not so much a long run, a full tank run at this point, but definitely has more laps, I think, than anybody else. Actually, Hinchcliffe also has 50. And
does anybody else have 50?
Yeah, Pippa has 58.
Yeah.
Beatrice has 56, and Schechter has 50. So there's a few drivers up in that same area.
Thomas Schechter once again filling in the 22 car, which looks nothing like we're used to the 22 car looking like. In fact, it's wearing the colors of the sponsor for this weekend's event, MoveThatBlock.com. And the 22 car has passed by me a couple of times, Davey, and I'm so unused to it. I keep thinking, which car is it?
Yeah, right. It's hard. It almost looks like Servia's car in a way.
Yeah, it does, and it looks a little like Hinch's car.
And a little bit like Hinch's as well, yep. So it's hard to see, or hard to tell, but it is MoveThatBlock.com, which is a sponsor we have, a new sponsor. And I haven't went to it yet. I have to be honest with you, I haven't went to it. I'm going to go check that website out tonight.
I did a couple of days ago to check it out, and it offers a variety of free online services. Everything from, Dave, you can go and you can book vacation homes there. You can check on other travel, dating, all sorts of things. Yeah, it's like 8 or 10 different
Wow.
services,
Cool.
but it's all free. That's
Yeah.
I guess that's the nice part about it. We got a problem in turn number 2. Not one, but 2 cars involved. One of them is Charlie Kimball. The other is Ed Carpenter. So Ed Carpenter and Charlie Kimball, just literally as we come to the closing seconds of this session. Tom, I was looking down to get your name off of your email when this happened. Unbelievable that, Davey, that's what I was going to say a few minutes ago, that we were through the session incident-free. I didn't say it, though.
Yeah.
But
That's what you get for thinking it.
Darn it. So we wind up with 2 cars coming off of turn number 2. Do not know.
I see on Kimball's car, left front wing, side plate's gone. Doesn't look like a lot of damage, maybe a little left front suspension damage. Doesn't look like too major damages. Ed's still on the other side of the racetrack. Here's a replay right now. Ed is in front right now. Oh, Ed spins.
Yep.
Ooh, Danica
Patrick was just behind that, wasn't she?
Ed was in front of all 3 cars. Ed spun. Kimball really had nowhere to go. Voided it really good, and then Danica ran up on both of them. Let me see. Oh yeah, Danica. Yeah, the 3 cars.
Well, let's check in down on pit lane first with you, Jake Query.
Charlie Kimball has already come in, and it is indeed the front left, as Davey said. The front wing, the left side of it, is about 30% gone. So that's obviously going to have to be replaced before they go back out for their next session. Charlie Kimball out of the car. We'll try to talk to him here in just a second. Charlie Kimball. Nick Yeoman?
Yeah, and on the front wing for Danica Patrick, pretty torn up as well. The very tip, the cone part of that front wing damaged as well. They have that part up in the up position. It doesn't look too bad. Looks like it's just something that, they'll be able to replace and put a replacement on there. But Danica Patrick did sustain some damage in that late practice incident as well, Mike.
Yeah, watching the replay, Davey, I tell you what, Danica did a darn good job of making that a lot less worse than it could have been. That could, had she checked up violently, her car would have gone into a spin, and as it was, she drove right through it. She kept her foot in it.